But here's the key performance indicator here that I'm paying attention to that tells me that the bottom's still not in for Constellation brands yet. And there is a substantial gap here between an 8% decline in shipments for the beer segment and a 2.7% decline in depletions. Depletions in beverage sales, that's sales directly to the consumer. They could just say direct sales, but they say depletions, kind of like same store sales in the retail world. 2.7% decline there. And that's implying to me that distributors are still pretty actively reducing their inventory levels on Constellation's beer brands. So
Is it any particular brands or is it just all brands across the board
this
here?
is just all brands across the board decline. And I'm sure there's some leading the charge, but this is just across the board decline. And once you start to see, those depletions start to pick back up and start to go in a positive direction, and maybe shipments can, bottom out, then we're probably going to see a bottom and the sales decline for the beer segment for Constellation. Now, granted, they've got a very huge moat. You were talking about Modelo being everywhere, right? Corona everywhere. So if you want to use this as a sort of a soft entry point, it's probably an all right idea. I'm staying away from it right now. I want to see the sales pick back up. But again, I wouldn't be too aggressive with it, but I would say meh, bye, meh.
So maybe I lit that. I'm going to preface my next few insight here is I probably live in a bubble here.
Sure.
I probably do. And it's a health and fitness bubble. And I see fewer people drinking alcohol. I don't drink. You don't drink. No, I think there's in my personal friend group, there's probably maybe two people that drink.
Yeah,
And
but
they
we're
don't.
in the parties over grandpa group, right?
Okay.
We're at that point right now.
I'll give
It's
you
kind
that.
of
I'll give you
like, yeah,
that.
it's like, yeah,
Yeah, I'll give you that. But there's the percentages of younger people drinking has dropped as well. The alcohol usage in the United States has dropped by over 3%.
that's good news. It
But
really
to
is.
me, that makes me question, like, is this just alcohol usage dropping, or is this because Constellation brands dropping?
It's constant. No, it's alcohol. It's all beer. It's the whole beer industry, and Constellation Brands made some pretty high profile bets into the THC industry that actually haven't paid off either. So there's that.
Well, I mean, here's
Uh,
the thing with the THC. When a state goes legal, there's a quick 1 to 3 year boom, is what we've been seeing state by state as this has happened over the decades. And then after that, it usually drops off.
this is true.
In Michigan, you saw a jump up to where they were saying numbers of 50 to 60% of the population was smoking marijuana when it became legal. However, as of right now, if you go into Michigan, you look at the statistics, there are less than 10% that are
Yeah,
actively, quote
yeah,
unquote, actively smoking marijuana. So you had that big jump up the first year and then a steady fall back down.
right,
And so you see that. And so now you see more of people trying to be more health conscious and trying to do the right things for themselves and live a healthier life. Especially as, like you said, we're in the older middle age, I guess, men stage, I don't know, people stage, and a lot of us are going sober and staying sober and trying to have that healthier lifestyle into the older age, and nobody's drinking in old age like they used to.
right.
Because I remember my parents, that age group, they drank into old age. They still drink. See, those 69, 70-year-olds still kicking back a few drinks every now and then.
I mean, look, yeah, and but the THC infused drinks are becoming more popular with our age group because there's no hangover if you don't overdo it.
There's no hangover, but there is the studies that have come out the past 2 to 3 years have shown a higher risk of Alzheimer's in people who
Alzheimer's.
frequently use THC and cannabis.
Sure,
And
not
that
without
has
its
been
risks.
huge increase in that. And
Yeah,
so that's really deterred a lot of people from going down that path road. So the people who do it are doing it in excess because they want to do alcohol in excess and they don't want the hangover, so they do THC in excess.
you also almost double your risk of heart disease.
So
I mean, there's benefits here. I'm not arguing against legalization. There's benefits for sure, but
no,
there's
no one
also
is. No one is.
right. And you
Yeah.
know the other thing too, and I don't want to get too political with this too, but they say that marijuana is not addictive. That's not true. Actually, studies show about the same addiction rates, 10%.
Yeah.
So
So
it's not as bad once you get addicted. You can't die from a marijuana withdrawal. You can
my
die from
thing is
alcohol
Constellation
withdrawal.
Brand. My point I'm making is Constellation Brands made a bad bet.
And then they don't. If you're talking about the bet into constant, I think it was let me see, Canopy Growth Corporation. That's who they bought.
Yeah.
Um, and they've been doubling down on it. We'll see if it pays off because they just keep
Tilray would have been a
injecting
better one to go
but
with.
it would have been better. But then also, I wouldn't have done either. I would have made it myself because the barrier to entry into the THC industry is not very high. All you have to do is grow a plant. And then maybe you got to grow a few of them. But if you're a company like Constellation Brands with access to a ton of capital, you can do that pretty
Hold on,
easily.
hold on. Are you saying it's as easy as like there's a need and I can bing bang boom
In
solve that
this
problem?
situation, quite possibly. I mean,
Is that what you're
ton
saying?
of these
Because that's
companies.
a if you're a new listener, that's a callback to an episode from last year where I was
Yeah.
like bing bang boom problem solved.
Well, actually, it was April of this year with the tariffs.
What
I
was
think.
it?
Yeah.
April of this year when I
Yeah.
did the bing bang
Yeah.
boom?
Bing, bang, boom. Bing,
Bing
bang,
bang boom,
boom.
problem solved.
Whatever. Problem solved. You're
All right.
profitable now. Growth ahead. No problems
Here
anymore.
we go.
All good.
I want to cover this with my call real quick, and then you can say whatever you want to say. Then we'll move into earnings and final thoughts.
Okay.
All right. So my first of all, my call is Lens Therapeutics. You're like, Dave, you already made this call. You said it was a great company. Why are you making this call again? Well, Lens Therapeutics took a hit last week. It out came the sledgehammers. They cut the stock down. It dropped down to 38 bucks a share at one point. And everybody was wondering what happened. It went up after market, back up again. So last week, Lens Therapeutics went ahead and filed and sold some stock in order to increase liquidity. This is nothing new for a company when they don't have any commercialized product. In fact, they do now. Their product just went commercial, just started recording sales as of October. So they first week they need some liquidity to pay their sales reps, guys. They need some liquidity to fly these sales reps all over the nation, talk to doctors, and get their product in the hands of consumers. All right. I understand that. It selling some shares in order to do that. I don't have it because I looked at the number of shares. It wasn't that much. It wasn't that much liquidity. It definitely 100% looked like it was just running the cost of business because they haven't sold anything yet. People need to keep that in mind. They just went commercial. They just got approved in August. They just hired the sales reps in September. The sales reps are just now going out to the doctors. Like, give them a month or two, please. And the stock took a hit. Meanwhile, companies that actually still cover Lens Therapeutics went ahead and raised price targets. Piper Sandler was one of them. Piper Sandler has an overweight rating on Lens Therapeutics and raised their price target up to $67 a share. Lens Therapeutics at one time was worth over $120 a share when they announced what they were researching and what they were planning to do with their drug. Well, the stock went down because after years of doing the research and doing the studies and clinical trials, stocks kind of go down after like the hype wears off. Well, now that drug's commercial, we're looking. Do I think it's going to go back over $100 a share? Maybe, maybe. But do I believe it will hit the price target that Piper Sandler has for it? Yes. I think that's a solid there. I think it may even probably get bought out before that happens. It all depends on these sales numbers that are going to happen from the Q4 this year. What are the sales numbers going to look like Q1? If the sales numbers come out of the ballpark and they hit a home run, that stock's going through the roof. I think it's a buy right now at its current price target. After hours, it was back up to $43 a share, 42 to 43, somewhere in that range. I still think it's a buy at that price.
Okay.
That was my call.
Cool.
Brandon, what do you have?
I mean, I already given you my calls on this. I'm
Okay. So
okay
cool.
on
Earnings.
Constellation Brands, but I really like. Um,
Well, let's get into earnings. Let's get into earnings this
okay.
week. We got some good earnings coming out.
Well, I
All right.
really like Teradyne. I really like Teradyne.
All right.
So
Earnings Tuesday morning, we have JP Morgan reporting. This is definitely one financial company to take a look for. Jamie Dimon, will come out and say one thing and then do another just to make more money because that's what Jamie Dimon does. Sometimes he comes out and tells the truth. You never know what he's coming out and telling you, but it's always fun to listen. JP Morgan is reporting earnings this week. Domino's Pizza is reporting earnings. I don't know why. I just felt like mentioning that. But yeah, first week of the quarter is usually all financials. You got BlackRock also on Tuesday. You have Citigroup on Tuesday. You have FB Financial on Tuesday. Goldman Sachs on Tuesday. Wells Fargo on Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be the day of the banks. Definitely 100% day of the banks coming out. Johnson and Johnson. Look for your drug makers to come out also on Tuesday. Wednesday here, before the bell, you got Bank of America, Citizens Financial, First Horizon, Morgan Stanley, PNC, one we were talking about. These again, more banks coming out. This is Wednesday before the bell, Wednesday after the bell. One, all right, so I'm going to pause right here. One, I want to see what they say as far as shipping goes. Is JB Hunt. JB Hunt is coming out Wednesday. I want to see what they say as far as shipping. United Airlines is coming out. I want to see what they say as far as travel news, especially Q4 holiday travel. Are they expecting to jump? Are they not? JB Hunt, I'm want to see what the shipping is. Is shipping picking up? Is shipping stalled? Where they at on shipping? Thursday, more banks. We got Charles Schwab, BNY Mellon, Key Corp coming out on Thursday. You have Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing coming out
that'll be
on
big.
on Thursday. Travelers Insurance Group, US Bank Corp on Thursday. I'm telling you, this is banks all week long. Banks, banks, banks. Interactive Brokers on Thursday. So that's Thursday. Let's move into Friday. American Express, Comerica, and Fifth Third on Friday. They're probably going to talk about their merger, probably going to talk about what it's going to look like afterwards, but it's going to be interesting to see. And last but not least, State Street coming out on Friday for the banks. That'll probably be the last one. And then as far as oil, the only oil company coming out this week that I saw worth mentioning was Schlumberger. Let's see what they have to say as far as they service oil rigs and oil sites. If the servicing is going down, it means there's fewer sites to service, or we're just using sites that are good and up and running. So see what they have to say. Lots of
I'm
earnings, though. I
interested
mean,
in
lots
JB
of
Hunt.
earnings.
I'm just reading that Danos. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. They're the International Container Company.
Yeah,
They do the container shipping, and they're working on almost adding, I think, like 50% to their fleet by 2028. So something's telling them, I think, that like the decline in global trade might be bottoming out. Otherwise, they're going to wind up with an overstocked fleet in about 4 years.
right.
So they're taking a pretty good risk here right now, I think, with the tariff situation and with the way that overseas and over air freight has been as far as rates on the decline go. And it looks to me like they're betting on scaling up. Plus, they've had a really good balance sheet. So if it works, it's going to work well, but it's risky. So we'll see.
Well, here's what I want to know. So we're talking about shipping. Is what did Warren Buffett know when he bought Occidental Petroleum? Did he know? Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Ah,
Dude, did you just shake your whole house?
I did. I felt like I
Hit the
did.
table.
Um, did he know that Europe was going to need all that liquefied natural gas from the United States because of the Russia-Ukraine war, and that's why he bought Occidental Petroleum because
Possible.
the contracts just as from this past few months have just skyrocketed, and Occidental is going to start moving upwards because of the contracts of Europe on shipping. So I'm looking at North Atlantic tankers. NAT is a ticker symbol as a possible benefactor of the increased shipping to Europe of natural gas. Possible. I haven't. I got to look into the numbers and see where the contracts lie, but that's one I'm looking at. Final thought, Brandon.
I just can't believe we're already starting Q4.
We're in Q4
I know.
starting.
That's crazy. And then now we're right back to earnings season again. It just
Yes.
feels like it was just like last week.
It yeah, and it always starts off with the banks with a bang. So
Yeah.
Here we are. My final thought is 100% Lens Therapeutics. I am a bull in Lens Therapeutics, believe wholeheartedly in that. I saw a couple headlines on Saturday, which I found hilarious, right? And I thought Brandon would bring them up, but the headlines were the fall of crypto this week, how Bitcoin has crumbled, yada yada yada. All because Bitcoin went from like 125 to 110. Oh, the mighty have fallen. Bitcoin's already back up to 116. This is Bitcoin swings. This
Cool.
is how it
Here's the
swings.
problem.
This is what it does, people.
I
Like
get that,
relax,
but it's
relax.
also why it's not a safe haven.
I knew you were going to go in there with it, but I knew you were going to go in there with it. But yeah, this is what it does. Stop with the, inflammatory headlines. I don't need to read that when I'm trying to
AMC's
actually.
earnings are going to be phenomenal, I'm sure.
No, yes, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, anyways, if you like what you heard, please hit the subscribe button. Recommend us to your friends and neighbors. We appreciate it. As always, we hope we have been entertaining, educational, and uplifting because we want everyone to make money. Have a good night.
Have a good night.